Turkish President Recep Erdogan is upping the stakes against Saudi Arabia after the death of a Saudi journalist in Istanbul. In a speech to Turkish Parliament, Erdogan said the killing was premeditated and once the suspects tried in Turkey. The Saudi kingdom has issued conflicting statements about Jamal Khashoggi, saying at first he was still alive. Then he was killed in a rogue operation. Then I think it was a fist fight. The kingdom continues to deny that the crown prince was involved. And just this week, CIA Director Gina Haspel traveled to Turkey looking for answers. For more, we turn to former CIA agent and whistleblower John Kiriakou. Thank you for joining us.
Happy to do it.
Well, this is an interesting world that we're living in, and obviously a situation none of us expected to be talking about. But what do you make of Turkish President Erdogan's assertion that Khashoggi's murder was planned weeks in advance and involved multiple teams of Saudi agents?
Well, I think there are two things we should look at here. One, he's probably right. This is not something that you just do on a whim. This is an operation that was very, very poorly executed, but probably was conceived many weeks in advance. But more importantly, the Turks and the Saudis have not gotten along in years, maybe decades. The Turks have a very close relationship with the Qataris. The Qataris are virtually in a state of war with the Saudis, and the Turks are absolutely obsessed with Kurds along their border of along the Turkish-Syrian border, and of course the Saudis are financing and funding and arming fundamentalist groups in Syria. So there are a lot of problems in Turkish-Saudi relations. The Turks have a reason to try to embarrass the Saudis on this. Absolutely.
I have to ask you a question going into this. If we had the intel, if supposedly the United States was given the intel that this was going to happen, there was obviously enough things going around. I think Khashoggi Jamal himself actually said to his fiancée, if I go in here, if I don't come back out, they've killed me. Why did he go in there if he knew there was that kind of a threat? Or was this just a threat that he lived under all the time, and he probably said that about every building he went into?
I've spoken to friends of his over the past couple of weeks, and they all say the same thing. They all say that he was deeply worried about his own security. Now, he wanted to fill out whatever form he needed to fill out in order to marry this Turkish woman he was engaged to here in Washington. But he was told by the Saudi embassy in Washington that he had to do it at the consulate in Istanbul. So they lured him to Istanbul and killed him inside. He knew something bad could happen. He was right. The interesting thing to me is that the Saudis didn't think anybody would care or didn't think anybody would notice. And we know now, thanks to Jared Kushner, that Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has expressed surprise that this has become an issue at all.
Well, that's the question. I mean, can we believe the Saudis in their surprise, right? Especially someone like the Crown Prince. I mean, how does something happen to someone who is so high profile, that is so well linked? I mean, his family is very well entrenched in the area without somebody at the high up knowing what was going on.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This points to the inexperience, really, of Mohammed bin Salman. He bit off more than he can chew, clearly, on this operation. The Khashoggi family is not originally a Saudi family. It's originally a Turkish family. And so they have no tribal background on which to rely. And I think that, in part, that was one of the reasons why Mohammed bin Salman thought he could get away with this.
Well, that's the question. What does this reveal about the MBS mindset? Is this kind of a humbling experience, or has this been happening and we're just now finding out about it?
I hope this is more than a humbling experience. Mohammed bin Salman has shown repeatedly that he is not equipped to lead this kingdom. He's launched an illegal war against Yemen. He has ruined relations with Qatar. He's murdered Jamal Khashoggi now. It's time for somebody to step in and change this leadership.
That's the thing. You've spent much of your adult life in Saudi Arabia. What do Americans need to understand or have failed to understand about the kingdom and the political culture that's evolved, especially in the region of Wahhabism?
The Saudi version of Islam, Wahhabism, Wahhabi Islam, is the most fundamentalist strain of the religion. And so what Americans, I think, don't understand is that the relationship that we have with the Saudis is based entirely on money. They sell us oil, we sell them weapons, and we pretend that we're friends. We pretend that we have a special relationship. In fact, we don't have a special relationship. It's transactional, nothing but transactional. And then we choose to overlook their fundamentalism. Don't forget that 15 of the 19 9/11 hijackers were Saudis. Don't forget that Saudi NGOs and governmental organizations were implicated in the financing of the 9/11 attacks. The Saudis really are not our friends, and we should not trust them in an operation like this.
Does this change us going forward, our relations with them, or do we just, like you said, when it's
No.
based on oil and money,
Yes.
does it change it going forward?
I'm sorry to say that this does not change it. Now, if the CIA director had gone to Riyadh instead of Ankara, I'd say, okay, we're in for a change. But she went to Ankara because I think the CIA doesn't have all the facts. And if she had gone to Riyadh, I would have told you on this program she had gone there to tell the king it's time for Mohammed bin Salman to go. That is not what happened today.
Well, it's scary. If the CIA doesn't have the facts, then who would? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.